Hi again. So I wanted to share with you a little bit more about what I did in statistics at Saturn. And I had two different jobs there. The first one was in build variation. So I never knew this before I went to work at Saturn, but when you're manufacturing something, there's variation in all the parts. So for example, let's say you're making this one car part and you have two different assembly lines. Well, the tools on this line might be a little bit different than the tools on this line. And if, let's say, you're stamping sheet metal parts, so if you have a pin that's stamping a hole in the sheet metal part, that pin's going to wear over time. And so that is, as it wears, the pin gets smaller and the hole gets smaller. So you have all these tolerances that the hole has to be, certain within a certain tolerance range, small to large. And then they have to maintain the tools to be within that range. Let's say the pin breaks off, they have to repair it and it's in a slightly different place than it was before. So there's also a tolerance for the location of that hole. So it's amazing we can put together cars at all, right? So imagine putting all these pieces that have variation together, and we want to make sure the car still fits together and also looks good and works. So we would do these build tolerance studies. So for example, from like your fender to your door, you want those to be like parallel to each other. So we would do a tolerance stack from the fender all to the frame and up to the door, and all parts up to the door panel. So, and there's a lot of parts in between, and look at all those variations. Then the other job I had was in reliability, and this was very interesting also. This was taking data to determine when a part would fail. So this was usually fighting about what the sample size was going to be, because testing is expensive. Like they would put a door on a fixture and essentially slam this door over and over and over again for, days, weeks, months, until things started breaking. So it's very expensive to test. And there are certain distributions that you use for the wearing of parts. So those are just two examples of things you can do with statistics in manufacturing. And I'll try to bring in, other examples throughout the course. Okay, see you later.